As you guys know, I'm also a dad of three, which is
Yeah.
which makes me the crazy dad. decided decided to go full bore on being a dad. There's no other way to do it. Like, listen, you gotta listen to their podcast. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Hey, I'm Robby Baehr with We Who Dad podcast, here with my good friend and brother-in-law,
Jeremy Carroll.
and we are talking with Benjamin Hollingsworth today, who is the star of Virgin River and has starred in many other productions, and also the upcoming movie, Karen Kingsbury, Christmas Ring. And we get to talk to him about being a dad and how much he loves being the father of three. You are going to want to hear all of this and not miss a moment. Okay, well, I just thought maybe we could just kind of start out. You gave actually a great comment where you said fatherhood changes you in ways you can't prepare for. So what are some of the things that you thought you knew about being a dad that turned out to be totally wrong and different?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I had obviously some experience. My dad, who I look up to greatly, gave me a great kind of framework. As if I always said growing up, if I could be half the dad my dad was, I'd be doing okay. So I hold him up on a pedestal because he committed to us and committed to playing with us and teaching us and being kind and generous. And so I really did have this idea of what fatherhood was going to be. What I didn't realize is how hard it would be
Yeah.
to do all these things. And so
Yeah.
as I stepped into fatherhood, I gained even more appreciation for the sacrifices he made, for the commitment that he made, and the patience he had, because it's not easy. And every day, it's a lot of deep breaths, as you guys know. It's a lot of double clutching. But along with the hard work, and I say this often, the most rewarding things in life are hard. They
Yeah.
just are.
Yes, you're so
You
right.
can you can take a helicopter to the top of a mountain and go, wow, this is a nice view. Or you can hike the mountain. And by the time you get to the top of that mountain, that view is 10 times more rewarding than it is had you just been dropped off at the top.
Yeah, you're so right.
And I think that's similar with kids. It's they're the hardest things and they're the best things.
Yeah.
And so that the hard work part of it, I knew it was going to be tough. I didn't know it would be this tough, but I also didn't know it would be this rewarding.
Yeah. I feel like that is so awesomely, brilliantly said. And I feel the same thing. I feel like we've kind of forgotten in society about the value of kind of the best things come through hard work, because we live in an age where you can press a button and is capable. But it's like a lot
Yes,
of the times
correct.
the beautiful things are going through those hard things. If it's becoming someone who loves to cook a great meal or building a
Yeah.
car or any of those kind of hard things are things that like end up being beautiful. And I love that analogy. I'm probably going to just steal it from you for some
Go ahead.
future
Take it away.
future
Yeah,
thing in
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'd love to hear a little bit about your story, because you've done a lot of different kind of roles along the way. And
Mhm.
I'm going to ask you a dad question, but then I want you to kind of expand and talk about your story. So,
All right.
some of the things you've done, you've done some intense roles too. How do you do it where you don't bring that back? Do you know what I mean? Is there any process that you kind of go through that helps you kind of separate, like, because I feel like in a way acting is kind of like we had a special forces guy on here and he kind of talked about deployment. And I know I'm not trying to, like, obviously deployment is very meaningful, but I feel like in a way acting is a lot like that. You know what I mean? You kind of deploy for a little bit and how you can figure out not to kind of like bring some of those characters you have to imbibe, and maybe how do you deal with that yourself or whatever, or how do you figure that out?
It is challenging, and it's challenging both ways. It's hard to not take being a dad with you to set, and to take all those pressures and stress and sometimes feeling of guilt if I'm away, in a different city filming, with you to set, where you're then having to step into someone else's shoes. The tricky part for the coming home, I kind of I have to make sure that when I'm a dad that I'm fully there, that I'm not running lines or dealing with emails, or which is tricky. Again, phones are always a close by. But I try and do my prep in my office, away from the kids. Sometimes they'll hear dad yelling, like, "What's going on?" Like, it's all right. That's fine. He's just running lines. Uh, but it is something. I don't know if there's a tool that I've developed as far as something tactile that really changes my mental state when I get home. But a hug from the kids, like, it really does turn around fast. It's actually harder when I'm away from home for me to kind of shed what's happened at work and to regain who I am without having that kind of, you know, I just when you're at home, it's so full on that,
Yeah,
like, it really does go away quickly because you don't have time to think
that's
about it.
right.
And it very dark roles, it is harder. It,
Yeah,
it it is a little bit more difficult. The mood might be there with me as much as I think I've shaken it.
yeah,
It might still be there a bit, but yeah, I would say it's almost more difficult going the other way. It's just like, how do I get into this role and you know imagine a world where I'm not stressed about school pickups and
yeah, yeah,
all the wonderful things that whose hockey practice is when, and all those wonderful things that being a dad is, and letting that go. And my wife's, as you guys know, you need that other half, and she really steps up in times where I'm working because I can't be available like that. When I'm on set, I'm on set.
yeah,
Like, I,
yeah,
I
yeah,
can't be doing dad stuff while I'm at work. And so it's very much unlike other jobs where you might be able to step away.
yeah,
When I'm filming, I can't just cut, guys. Hold on.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Turns out my kid got a staple in the thumb at school, so I'm just gonna need to go handle
yeah.
that. But yeah, so it's tricky no matter what you do. Yeah.
You know, okay, so just so you grew up in Canada. Tell us a little bit about your story. I know we're Dodgers fans, so I don't know about this
It's gonna be
conversation. And
tough. It's gonna be. Hey, I lived in LA for like 15, 20 years, so
I
I'm
can't believe they
also I'm
beat
I'm
the.
part-time Dodgers fan, but I'm full-time Jays
Okay,
fan, so it'll be
okay.
fun.
I can't believe they won on that. I just gotta say, the Mariners. That was crazy. That was a
That
crazy.
was wild.
Yeah.
My boys and I, so I was 9 the last time the Jays won the World Series, and
Wow.
my oldest is 9 now.
Wow.
And the fact that it's happening, they're going to the World Series since the first time in 32 years when I was 9,
Wow.
is just, it's uncanny. And my boys, so 9 and 7, watch the whole game. They sit down with me. They're on the edge of the seats.
Yeah.
We have a seat pattern. So, like, everyone get in your positions, because
Yeah.
there's a lucky
That's awesome.
way of sitting on that, as everyone knows, on the couch.
Yeah.
I'm like, get back in your seat. No,
Yes.
no, no.
Yeah.
That whole thing. But it's just,
It,
it kind of this is one of I'm jumping all over the place, but this is one of the unexpected things about being a dad, to look it back.
yeah.
I am un I'm uncovering memories that I had as a kid, going through experiences as a dad,
Yeah.
going like, oh, I remember
Yes.
now
Yeah.
this
You're right.
time when this
Yeah.
happened. Like, oh yeah, this happened to me when I was this,
Yes.
like,
Yeah. It makes
it
you
going where
reflective.
I totally, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't have necessarily had these memories had I not gone through these experiences again with my kids. So,
And
I'm very much living in that 9-year-old, a
yeah.
nostalgic,
And I
element
love
of 92, 93. Yeah.
I love how they light up new areas. So my oldest son, he loves baseball. Like he lives
Yeah.
and dies baseball. You could ask him any statistic about any player, and he will tell you. And he obviously is like a huge Dodgers fan because we're we're here.
Right. Yeah.
But it's just cool too because like he's brought our whole family into being baseball fanatics. So we do the same thing. You gotta have the right position. If you're in the wrong position, maybe they won't score.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh-huh.
it's just like
It's your
everything
fault.
about it. But it is cool too where they like pull you into something that you didn't expect. So we're all about it. We're in that baseball thing too. And my oldest is 10, so not too far off from your
Yeah.
9-year-old old. But
It's a great phase. You know, and that I guess that's one more thing that I'm realizing. You know, people tell you, oh, it goes by so fast. It's so fast. It's so
yeah,
fast. And one thing that I didn't realize early on is just how, you know, the days are long. They're really, really long,
yeah,
but the years fly by.
yeah, they
You know,
do.
then it
Yeah,
really
you're right.
truly does. You
Well said.
like
Yeah,
you just got your head down and you're working through it and you're trying to get through it.
yeah,
And I've now switched now that my youngest who's a girl, my daughter's 5, and so she's like the strollers are gone, the diapers are gone, the,
yeah,
you know, we still got car seats, but like all these phases of life, as I'm passing them on, my sister just had her first. I'm passing them on. I'm going like with the memories, away this goes, and
mm.
part of me goes, I'm thank God I never have to like shove a stroller in a car again.
yeah,
So you know, I'm also handing it off going like, yeah, I remember this walk or
yeah,
this run. Or
yeah,
I remember, you know, all these
yeah. You're
memories
right.
kind of come flooding back. And so I'm definitely shifted into the cherishing
Yeah,
every moment, every hug. Like, you
yeah,
know, who knows when the last time is that you'll actually they'll let you pick them up and carry you around in
yeah,
public. Like, you know, that's just not that cannot happen with my
yeah.
9 and
You're
7
right.
year old. They will
Yeah,
not allow that to happen.
dude.
And so yeah.
I feel like I'm
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
same stage of life because my daughter literally just turned 5 years old, my youngest.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, you're right. I've started getting nostalgic, even though I like do not want to go through the sleepless nights ever
No.
again.
No.
But you
No.
do kind of
God.
feel like, man, I really miss that too, in a way, the
Yeah.
little person. So I feel the same in that.
Yeah.
Um, okay, well, I mean, I'm gonna pull you back. I want to hear a little bit about.
Yeah.
Tell me about your acting. Like, how did you get into acting? What kind of called you towards that, and what kind of pulled you through that to where you are now?
Yeah, it's interesting because that had to do with my dad too. Like he wasn't a professional actor, but he did, you know, acting throughout his high school and then did community theater all through. Well, I was growing up, so I actually got to watch him on stage and saw a very transformative experience where he had to die once on stage.
Wow.
And to, you know, watch your dad die, it was, you know, it was all kinds of emotions for I think I was around 8 or 9 at the time too.
Wow.
But while I was experiencing this, I look across the crowd and I see everyone crying. And I'd be like,
Wow.
wow, what a cool magic trick. Like
Wow. Hmm.
what a powerful thing this is that my dad can affect so many people
Wow.
in a way that is like they'd be laughing then the next moment. And my dad was always a great storyteller and his dad was a great storyteller. So I come through a line of good storytellers. And at the end of the day, being an actor is just, you know, adult make believe. You know, it's professional make believe.
Yeah.
But it's that sense of play was encouraged in our family. My sister, you know, she's not an actress, but she did when she was younger. She did the school plays and stuff. So she was always enlisting me in her, you know, family plays that we put on for our parents, where you know,
Yeah.
you stand there and go there and hold
Yeah.
this and say that. So I was taking direction from an early age. Um, but you know, I fell in love with it. It was a way for me to continue to use my imagination in ways that I didn't get in trouble for. You know, I often my imagination got me into trouble growing up a little bit, but when I was acting, it was an asset for me. It still is. So yeah, watching my dad on stage was really kind of what got me into it. But then some advice from him really formed a big decision in my career, which was I was 18 and I had had some success with a few plays that I'd done and it was, you know, I'd graduated high school, so I was like, you know, I want to go to Hollywood. I want to give it a shot. And my dad's like, well, you're talented and you definitely have what you need to make it in the business, but like you also need to learn the craft. Like you can be very tall but it does and jump really high, but it doesn't make you a good basketball player. Like you need to know the game. You need to learn the ins and outs of it. So I spent 3 years at an acting conservatory, learning all of it, so that throughout my career, the stumbles, the drop, the setbacks, all of that stuff, I was able to tackle it with a toolbox that kind of, um, had I been 18 and gone to Hollywood, you can be eaten up in that city. You can even be eaten up at any age in that city. But as a young adult, without that kind of training, without the kind of knowledge of how the business works, it's a lot tougher. So yeah, that's kind of what got me into wanting to be an actor.
Wow, what an incredible story, because it's so cool to be so I love my pops too, and he's guided me in so many ways, and it's just amazing to see that your dad, like, one, you listen to your dad's advice, which is already a great part of the story, but
Right.
two is that he was able to see that talent in you and call that out.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that is cool, because it's like, I feel like for us a lot as dads, it's like almost seeing what our kids are good at, and speaking, life over them,
100%.
we're Christians or whatever, so we believe that,
Yeah.
you know, encouragement is speaking God's word into action, kind of like calling it out in them ahead of time. And it's just, that's so cool. Like, what an encouraging story that your dad like saw that in you and kind of called you to it. And it's
Yeah.
amazing to see, like, obviously your talent on screen has been successful because of that, building those um that deep knowledge and craft, back to the thing of, hey, it's better to walk up the mountain than to fly to the top of it.
Yeah. Yes, 100%. A lot of that goes through that teaching of learn the craft, do the work. The stuff that comes easy is easy come, easy go. That's very, very. There's a lot of truth to that. Gratitude comes through hard work and through appreciation of what it is to fail. I remember my parents always believed in me, and that belief helped me form confidence in myself and believe in myself. I remember some handwritten notes my parents wrote me while I was going away to school about believing in myself, and I took that and I transformed that into kind of a mantra that I say to my kids. I say it to them every night before they go to bed, and it kind of reinforces that. I say, follow your heart, believe in yourself, and know no matter what, mommy and daddy always love you. And
Wow, that's
that's
awesome.
just like all the time. I just
Yeah,
feed that to them all the time because I
yeah.
want that. I want them to listen to their hearts, like such an important quality and something that I've always done. And to believe in themselves no matter what, and I think to that end, no matter what you do, whether you're going to make mistakes, I tell that to them after having, talk about consequence and all of that, get disciplining them. I say that to them because I want that reinforced, that through failure, that there's lessons in failure. Failure is
And
not what I want you to pay
yeah,
attention.
yeah,
We
yeah.
all make mistakes,
Yeah.
right? But God, coming back to it, God's love is eternal, and it's something that, I want them to feel that in their day to day, because that's gonna keep them on track. That's gonna keep their moral compass in place, because, believing in themselves. I think a lot of people make bad decisions when they're not doing that, when they
Yeah.
when they feel like there isn't that self belief. So yeah.
I love that. That's so cool, because you're right. I mean, I think one of the things that's so empowering, for me, is that I know that I'm completely known and completely loved by God. And I think a lot of that
Mhm.
does start with your parents kind of saying, like,
Yeah.
"Hey, we love you no matter what,"
Yes.
in the process. And my grandfather and grandmother were famous actors in the black and white era. So if you've seen Turner
Oh,
Classic Movies,
cool.
you've seen their stuff. But my grandfather, man, he was so hardworking on the craft, and I love hearing that too, because it is. I think a lot of people outside of Hollywood don't understand how hard it is, and what the discipline that's required to be able to do it. If your child is passionate about this particular thing, there's a
Yeah.
lot of work to get there, and my grandfather would do that every day, practice, and just prepare for it in the mix of it. Um, okay, tell us a little
I
bit
love
of.
I love hearing that too, because it's one of the things that really attracted me to acting is the idea of legacy and being able to have this thing that I do now that potentially my kids can go back and watch, you know,
Yeah.
and get to know me in a way that they
Yeah.
never would had I not done that stuff. So that's cool.
My grandfather was one of my best friends. He was an amazing dude. He was during the time of Cary Grant and all those guys. So he wore a suit everywhere. He was just a gentleman to the extreme. You would have loved him
Yeah.
if you met him. Um,
Nice.
maybe tell us a little bit about this new project that you're coming out with.
Right.
Uh, can you kind of speak on that a little bit?
100%. Yeah. So it's called The Christmas Ring. It's gonna be in theaters. It's a Christmas movie. It's kind of in the vein of The Holiday, or what are some of the other ones? Love Actually, movies that not aren't necessarily rom-coms, but they're feel-good movies, but they also explore the chaos and the complex themes that also go along with Christmas. But still have that timeless, warm and fuzzy feeling. So it kind of is a nod to some of the movies we grew up with in the 90s that and early 2000s that explore those things that aren't necessarily like slapstick comedy kind of stuff, but stuff that is more eternal and introspective and timeless in nature.
That's awesome. And when does it come out? Do you know the exact date or? I
Yes, November 6th. So soon.
yeah.
It's after you put away your Halloween decorations, you can pull out your Christmas ones. This is it's gonna be great. I think that there's nothing like a good Christmas movie to kind of get you in the spirit.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I've stopped going to movie theaters and they watch movies from their couch with either themselves or their spouse, or with their family, which is great, but they don't get out of the house. And I think that there's something intentional about going to see a movie as a community. It's similar to worship. You go and you experience. Saying a prayer at home is different than going and saying a prayer with 100 strangers. Like it's just different, and it has
Good.
a different feel to it.
Yeah.
And I think so there's that element to this too, where going through an experience and having these shared emotions is something that's truly, I think, meant to watch in a theater. And I'm hoping that people will get off their couches and go see this one because it is special.
I love that. I think that there is nothing like watching something in a theater. It is special. It's doing it together, and there's something so meaningful about it. And I think we've talked about this a lot, but it feels like the movie that you guys made is one that would encourage people to go, because a lot of the movies have kind of forgotten that kind of warm the
Yeah.
warm feelings of the world. You kind of like a lot of them, you walk away more depressed than when you came in. And it's like, well, I'm sad I even spent $15 doing that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? For a
True.
ticket. But it's like
Mhm.
this movie looks deeply that you're going to walk away and just feel encouraged and kind of good about, the world and what you're doing. And I feel like we need that. And there's something beautiful about that for people to be able to go together on that.
The affirmation of humanity, that it still exists, that there's still good in the world, that people still have morals and a sense of community. The series that I'm on Netflix, Virgin River, one of the reasons why it's so successful is it's about a community. And I think more and more, some of the reasons why I talked about, like, people are not going and they're not they're a part of online communities, but they're not a part of their own community.
Yes, you're
And I
right.
feel like that's so
100%.
unfortunate that, like, we know more about someone we follow on Instagram than we do our own neighbors.
Yes, you're right.
And I just find that so disheartening. And I think this is a nod to that other side of life, where it's kind of a throwback to where people um cherish relationships within their family. There's some really interesting dynamics between, my character, who happens to be called Ben, his name's Ben Miller on the phone, and his father, and actually was able to draw on a lot of my relationships with my father and bring that in the movie. Kelsey Grammer does an amazing job playing my dad. And so it's all of those elements of family, of tradition, of belief in God, and having faith, and rediscovering love. Um, they're all in there, but so is a sense of optimism, and which is the whole idea of Christmas, right? It's that Savior's coming, and born into us, and that we have that renewed hope every year, and that's in the film too.
Wow, I love that. I think you're so right that one of the struggles of our age is that we've forgotten community, and I just read this book called The Four Disciplines of Joy or whatever. I might have messed up the title, but it was like these neuroscientists talking about like how you could grow joy in your life, in your brain. And one of the number one things is community. And it's just, we have forgotten that. We've forgotten to talk to anybody, outside of the digital. And I love that. I love anything that calls people towards that. I think is so, so important.
Well, I think it's one of the reasons people love sports so much, is that, like, it's one of the things we actually go out, and as a community we go and watch sport, like
Yes, you're right.
concerts.
Yeah.
We love concerts. Well, we're going it's a shared community. Like, you can watch a concert at home in your house. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes people they're so far back they just watch the jumbo screen anyway
Yeah.
because they can't see the thing.
Yeah.
But what makes it fun is they're there singing with other people, and it's like we're just forgetting that that's so valuable to us.
Yes, you're
And
right.
it's valuable in every aspect
Sphere.
of our life.
Yeah.
Especially in our entertainment, is that the communal experience
Yes, you're
is
right.
something profound, and it's something that we've for as far back as you want to go,
Yeah.
have done as a society, and as human race has been, is to do that, as to come together. The best experiences, even within our family traditions, it's getting together for Christmas, getting
Yeah.
together for Easter, getting together, bringing family together, and bringing people together. And I've always thought that if I can do that, if I can bring people together in my work, and I can make people feel included and make people feel like they're not alone, then I'm on the right track. Go out and bring some friends, because you want to fill up that theater, and enjoy it. I really hope people love the movie, and it's a pleasure talking to you guys. And you'll have to tell me what you think after you see it.
Thanks for tuning in to the We Who Dad podcast. This has been Robby Baehr and Jeremy Carroll from Movieguide. And please subscribe if you want more content like this, and let us know in the comments who we should be interviewing next. Keep on dadding.